2020 Polygon Siskiu D5. We picked this bike up lightly used as a placeholder for my girlfriend so she would have something to ride until her pre-ordered bike came in. I paid around $900 for it used, but they retail for about $1,100, and they're only available through bikesonline.com. Like Motobacane, they are a direct-to-consumer brand that sells online only. They have their own component brand as well called Entity and make things like grips, saddles, handlebars, and even tires. The Siskiu D5 is the most affordable full suspension that Polygon offers, and while $1,100 typically won't get you a full suspension bike with the big brands, it quickly became apparent how they got that price so low. Let's start with the frame though. This isn't the first Polygon frame I've seen in person, and I've got to say they're really impressive. They do some really unique machining and design, and the graphics are some of the coolest I've seen. I also appreciate that the cables are internally routed even on their low-end models. There is internal routing for a dropper post on this bike, though you don't get one out of the box. My only gripe with the frame is the quick-release non-boost rear axle. At a price point of over $1,000, this is really disappointing. It's actually the main reason I upgraded my old bike to the one I have now. There's no practical way to upgrade to a boost through axle if you were to start modifying this bike to be more capable. But enough on that, let's run through some of the other components and features of the bike. You get a pretty modern geometry with a 67-degree head tube angle and a tapered head tube if you want to change out the coil-sprung Suntour XCM fork with 100mm of travel. The rear shock is a Suntour Radon air shock with 120mm of travel. The wheels are generic and wrapped in their Entity brand 27.5 by 2.25 tires. With the Siskiu D5 you get some lower end Shimano brakes and drivetrain. The brakes are hydraulic disc brakes, which is really to be expected at this price point. The drivetrain is a 2x9 Altus setup, which is another big pitfall on this bike in my opinion. You can refer to my other video about drivetrains, which goes in depth on the differences, but let's just say I'm not a fan of this drivetrain. Aside from the clunky 2x9 setup, the lower end drivetrain components are not really smooth or reliable. We had some issues with it on a few of our rides, and I feel like that just shouldn't happen with a bike that's this new. Between that and the lack of a dropper post, it could leave a newer rider struggling to keep up. But I don't want it to seem like I'm tearing this bike apart. It definitely fills a void in the market. Like I said, a full suspension mountain bike for around $1,000 is pretty unheard of. And if you're looking for a bike to get your wife or kids out on a ride with you, this would be a great bike. But if you are serious about mountain biking and want something you can really throw around on the trails, you may want to consider saving a bit more money. Personally, I would just take the money and get a hardtail. At this price point, you can get much better components by sacrificing the rear suspension. If you are really set on a full suspension, I'd honestly just save up a little bit more. If I were to ride this bike, I would definitely want to upgrade the fork, drivetrain, and get a dropper post. And at that point, I could have just bought a more expensive bike that probably even has through axles and a better wheel set. But again, that's my opinion. If you're a lighter rider and don't ride super aggressively, the quick release axles and spring fork may not be as huge of an issue for you. What do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. My girlfriend's new bike will be here in a few days, so I'll have another review of it and lots of other great stuff in the future, so be sure to subscribe and turn those notifications on. Please let me know if the video was helpful and what you'd like to see more of in the future. Thanks for your support. I'll see you next time.